Sir,
What's up?
nothing much. How are you doing?
Good.
Sir.
Oh my gosh.
Sir. Hey.
This is getting absurd.
Sir, I have my Benedictine spirit wear on today.
Sir. Hey, sir. What are they doing?
What's up, Big Al? Long time no see.
Yeah, long time no see, man.
What's it been, like 10 minutes?
It's been like 10 minutes, bro. I didn't see you down at the lockers, and it's like I didn't know where you were. No, I haven't.
Sir, you want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
Brett Kavanaugh helped form a case against Bill Clinton.
For impeachment?
Yeah.
I think somebody mentioned that last year. I wasn't aware of that, I guess, until gosh. This is like seeing you guys, it's like
Diego.
you guys are slowly going from after to before pictures. What is this putting the sunglasses on upside down thing?
We did it last class, sir.
Sir. Come on, guys.
Sir.
What's up? I'd be drug testing you guys so hard right now.
I would pass right now, sir.
Would you?
I would. I know for a fact I would.
Alex with the dip. There you go. Mustache Brennan has.
Hey,
Bro. Yeah, you go.
You got the. You got... Brock.
DJ.
What's up, bro?
Hey, so
It's my first class all day, sir.
Your first class all day? Why is that?
Because my other ones are irrelevant.
Like?
I mean, I don't think you didn't come to class on
I was working, sir.
Probably.
where are you working?
My grandpa.
yeah, about there.
You'd probably be staying away from your grandfather right now.
He's not going to work, but it's his company. My mom works there. It's like a family thing, so.
What do you do, Brock?
We do
What?
refill refrigerant and stuff.
Mr. Walker, what's up, sir? How are you doing? Wonderful weather we're having.
Wait, that's the most words Lorenzo said all year.
I don't think somebody's with Lorenzo.
You said what?
Miss you.
Here.
Bennett!
Sorry,
Yeah.
my stomach was upset. Had milk.
It's like we're having a trailer park community meeting.
We all do look like stupid as hell.
You see, like, colleges, and they're actually, like, dressed
Shut
appropriately.
up, Brock.
I've got to reevaluate my professional career.
It's a little late for that.
Sir, you should get some haircuts.
It's too late, sir.
I mean, Coach, it's about the lowest tier of a class you can get. So
I'm reminded of that every single time I go on Blackball.
Ouch.
Sir, I have an amazing grade in your
Sir,
class.
that hurts. That hurts a little bit.
I thought it was the highest grade possible right now.
you should just be happy that this many people joined the live stream. I'm kind of surprised.
Somebody has a 12 in here, and
Hey, no, it's down.
Sir, I'm pretty sure I have a 0. It ain't much better. Actually, I just what?
Brian Daughtry tried to Zoom with me earlier while he was driving.
Yeah, he was pushing forward class.
He did that for Durant.
He's making chicken, sir.
Yeah, what if he was, like, zooming while he's at KFC.
He sent Mr. Duran a picture.
Brock, can you fix the lighting in your class?
Hey, close your curtains, bro. Damn.
Hey, sir.
That's a little better. I like the Nats gear though.
I love how Busman said clean shaved, no hat, and Benedictine attire. Not a single person in here is following any of that.
Except for DJ. DJ has a Benedictine thing on.
Well, I mean, so
That's because my camera got turned off last time.
my philosophy with it, and you may remember last class I disabled your videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Nobody else is enforcing this.
Nobody is.
No.
Oh.
No, no one said a word.
Why are you gonna fight it? Like,
I'm gonna Zoom recording.
How'd you get that so quick? Oh my god.
Okay.
Hey, sir. Look great.
He turned off his camera.
hey, we can all play that game.
My dad
Coach,
probably.
Brian said let him in.
Sir, where are the black kids? I'm sorry, I just had to ask. I don't know. Oh. I like that. That's cool.
All right. Let's see.
Brock, why are you taking pictures?
Prayer, please. Bennett, remove your cap.
Oh, my bad.
Go ahead.
Hurry up. Let's go. Come on, Brennan. Lead us in prayer.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Oh, name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of death. Amen.
The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. All right, I was about to say have a seat. Okay, so let's see. A few things. Thank you, CJ. A few things. One, homework this weekend, 18.4. Go ahead and get that done. Just create a Google Doc and send it to me. I'm sorry, Brennan, that you have to answer 5 questions. I know that is hard for you. Beyond that, I do have a kind of a discussion question, or a question that is a point of discussion. So I'm going to share with you, or go to my drive and find that document. Hold on real quick. Okay. And what you'll need to do is you'll need to create a copy of this document. Well,
Hey, sir.
I'll do it. I'll do an editable version of the document. Hold on. Edit. You can edit. So, for your participation points this week, you guys might find this beneficial. So I'm going to post this here. And so you just copy in the link and you should be able to access the document, no problem. And so there's a couple, it tells you exactly how to fill it out. Basically, you're going to pick a space and you're just going to answer the questions provided. I'm going to pull up the case that we're going to talk about, because I do want to talk about a few Supreme Court cases. And this will be the first one we end up discussing. Okay, it's this case Roper versus Simmons. And this was when I was your age. This case kind of came about, and every once in a while it kind of rears its head, this issue of the juvenile death penalty. And I'm sure there's opinions on this. What I want you guys to do is just consider the case and answer the question. So Brian, would you mind reading? First of all, I'd love to see your face, Brian. You can start up your video and maybe read the case for me, please.
Okay. Is it the one that says, for example?
It's the one that's on the screen. It says this case in Missouri.
Oh, I was on the doc. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. This case in Missouri involved Christopher Simmons, who in 1993 at the age of 17 concocted a plan to murder Shirley Crook, bringing in 2 younger friends, Charles Benjamin and John Tesmer, into the plot. The plan was to commit burglary and murder by breaking and entering, tying up the victim and tossing the victim off a bridge. Wow. The 3 met in the middle of the night. However, Tesmer then dropped out of the plot. Simmons and Benjamin broke into Miss Crook's home, bound her hands, and covered her eyes. They drove her to a state park and threw her off a bridge. Dang.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So that's the case. Bennett, could I get you to pick up just where they go with this?
Yeah. Once the case was brought to trial, the evidence was overwhelming. Simmons had confessed to the murder, performed a videotaped reenactment at the crime scene, and there was testimony from Tesmer against him that showed premeditation. He discussed the plot in advance and later bragged about the crime. The jury returned a guilty verdict, even considering mitigating factors, no criminal history, and his age. The jury recommended a death sentence, which the trial court imposed.
Okay, so like I said, this cases like this rear up their head from time to time. I want you to consider the following questions: should there be a death penalty for juveniles?
They're wrong.
This guy was 17. He was on the upper end of 17, maybe like some of you guys. And how do you think the jury ruled in this case? So answer that question as well. So you just go ahead and do that in the document and in the space that I provided for you.
You want us to do that right now?
Yeah, go for it. Go, write down a few thoughts. I want to think about this a little bit before we talk about it.
Hey, Coach, mine's not working. Can I just type in the notes thing?
What do you mean?
Like I tried to get and make a copy of it, and just I don't know, my internet was slow or something.
Can you send me an email?
Yeah, I was just gonna do that. Type in a document.
For now, that's okay. I mean, part of the problem is that you're outside. It appears. You might, if we're in class, be inside.
Wait, so what do you want us to do?
I'm on the porch, Coach.
What do you want us to do, sir?
So just answer those 2 questions that are on my screen, and I think I placed them on the warm-up document as well. Should there be a death penalty for juveniles? How do you think they ruled in this case in particular?
All right. Could I send a picture to you?
Huh?
Could I send a picture of my notes and send it in email?
Well, can't you just do it on the doc?
I'm not on my computer. Well, my computer.
Mine doesn't work. I can't type.
Am I the only person typing? Like, where's everybody?
Yeah, I can't type on it.
Sir, can you give us edit or access to it?
You gotta refresh the screen.
Yeah, I think I did give you guys.
Oh yeah.
Lorenz is on it.
It works.
I can't.
Big Glitch is on it, sir.
Okay.
Oh, it's on the dot.
You guys are doing it.
It's in the chat.
Yeah, that's why it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it.
That's why it wasn't working.
The first one I sent in the chat, I think.
Oh yeah, it probably let me type.
How was work yesterday?
Pretty good.
All right, can I get some free?
I can't type.
I can't type neither.
You probably got the wrong link there, smart guy.
Who?
Nah, Coach, it won't let you type. That's why I had to do it in notes.
You got to refresh it.
I still didn't.
I got to refresh it?
No, I refreshed it and it worked for us. Or it worked for everyone.
Ryan, refresh it.
Sir, get out of my box.
God, my internet is slow as hell.
I was ready to do something so childish, but I'm not even gonna do it.
No, don't do it.
Oh.
Why is my computer?
Bro, somebody move that blue space.
Hey, bro, I was ready to.
What the?
Y'all see that?
That came up on my screen too.
Hold up.
That screen.
Coach, you watch South Park last night?
No. Was it good?
They had like 10 episodes streaming in back to back to back.
Somebody move that Bron. You guys are pussies.
Stop
What's going on?
writing in Brian's.
Sir, I'm trying. There we go. Ah, never mind. Internet. Who knew?
How do I see what I am?
You're red. Lauren,
Yeah, Lauren's like,
all your stuff
Dude.
is red.
Who's Olive?
I see anonymous Python. Beaver.
bro, what am I? What am I? What am I?
Boredom, you're anonymous Python.
Hey.
Somebody tell me what I
Lincoln
am.
Snape.
Lorenz, click on it. You're anonymous hyena.
That's so whack, bro. How come I can't be like a penguin or something?
Who's Anonymous Beaver?
Just click on their name. It shows you where they last typed.
No, it's Narwhal. Good job, Alex.
Think it's Daughtry.
Sir, it seriously will not let me type.
All right, I sent an email to you, Coach, when I warm up.
Okay. All right. So I know some of you guys are still working, and that's perfectly fine. You might have to be patient with it, Bennett. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, I had it done. I made a different copy of it, so I have it typed on a different one.
As far as what this or what you guys said, let's see. Let's get a few thoughts out here. So I'm going to go ahead and read Brian's. I believe if a juvenile has a prior record, has no prior record, they should not be eligible for the death penalty. So what you're saying in effect then, Brian, is that juveniles should, and given certain conditions, be eligible.
Huh?
You're saying that that you're in favor of juvenile death penalty in certain conditions.
No. I said, I believe if a juvenile has no prior record, they should not be eligible for the death penalty.
Okay, but if they have no prior record, meaning that if they did have a prior record, then they should be eligible.
Nah, I don't think a juvenile.
Okay.
I don't think a juvenile.
So why, Brian? What about having no prior record? Or what about all that is important?
Like no serious crimes, like no like really serious crimes. Like, yeah, I should have put like serious crimes, like type.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right. What about Jack? Why don't you share what you wrote, because I can't see that. You're gonna have to unmute yourself, Chief.
I said that, yes, juveniles should be eligible for the death penalty because of eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said the court probably gave him the death penalty once he turned 18.
Okay. Anybody else want to share what they said for this one? Bennett, go ahead.
I said that like he should like be able to be convicted of like the death penalty because of like how serious the murder was and how premeditated it was. Like I feel like there's like certain crimes that like people like do like juveniles that could like deserve the death penalty, but obviously like some crimes that like maybe probably should be let go of.
Okay, fair enough. So what about, I mean, like the age 17, this guy's 17 years old. You know, basically the difference between him and some of you guys is a matter of months, yet, you know, this is up for debate, but we don't question whether somebody 18 in 1 month should receive the death penalty. Do you think that that's problematic? Simon, what do you think? Unmute yourself, bud. God.
I did unmute myself.
I unmuted you.
Oh, okay. So just what I put down.
What do you think? No, what we you might as well just watch the YouTube video, bud. Let's see. Somebody else. The difference between like 1 month meaning, hey, yeah, no problem, death penalty, and then the other way. CJ, what do you think?
Well, I think if the crime is like grave enough, then anybody should be able to receive the death penalty. Like in this case, he premeditated the murder. He even like robbed her. He didn't even just do a murder, he robbed her too.
Okay, and then he bragged about it after the fact. And actually, in this case, that was crucial for the jury in this case, is that he did that he bragged about it after the fact, was premeditated. I want to share with you before we continue another case, and this is similar, but there's a key difference, and that is this case. Some of you guys may have heard of this case because it was a pretty high profile case at one point in time. This is a case of James Bulger. These two guys right here, they took this kid out of the mall. They led him to a group of railroad tracks, and they basically like
death penalty,
tortured him, stuffed like batteries in various orifices of his body. They put him on the railroad track so it looked like an accident. They threw rocks on top of them. I mean, and they mutilated him. And it was all very deliberate. It wasn't accidental, and they didn't show much remorse. I mean, do you see a key difference perhaps in that case?
Those kids are like 10.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, so
they were teenagers.
10. But I mean, what they did was pretty egregious.
Those
Ryan,
kids who did it were 10.
Ryan, you were saying, look at the kids.
Yeah. I thought there was grown men who did that. My fault. I didn't know those were kids.
Okay.
I mean, when you're 10, you should still know not to kill anybody. Like, there's no excuse for that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's juvie. It doesn't necessarily mean you should die, but yeah. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I mean, this was a case that took place in Great Britain, not necessarily the same as the United States.
Those people are weird.
The way they ruled in this case was that these kids spend some time in juvie and they're out. And so they did end up killing somebody else, like it was like rape and aggravated assault when they were older. And so, you know, it made people look at this case like, gosh, you know, there definitely needs to be age limits, but even a case like this gave people pause to think about the case. In the Roper versus Simmons case, this was the decision. Under the evolving standards of decency test, the court held that it was cruel and unusual punishment to execute a person who was under the age of 18 at the time of the murder. Writing for the majority, Justice Kennedy, who was often the swing vote back then, cited a body of sociological and scientific evidence that said that juveniles lack the maturity and a sense of responsibility compared to adults. Adolescents were found to be overrepresented statistically in virtually every category of reckless behavior. So I guess my point is, you know, this guy's not very different from your age. Should there be a same level of accountability there in terms of the egregiousness of these types of crimes. Go ahead.
How does one day, like, you murder someone with like premeditated, when you're like the next day is your birthday, you turn 18 and you don't get the death penalty, but if you like, how does a span of like not even like 12 hours change your maturity level?
Yeah, but then there's anybody, any other thoughts on?
I think that like everybody kind of should know the law that by the time you turn 18, there's going to be like you're going to have differences in what you can or can't do, and so like people have to take that into account. And so if you like between like if you're 17 and then 12 hours later you're 18, well now the law has changed for you. Now that you're 18, it doesn't matter whether you're mature or not. It's that like the law changed and you're the one who's supposed to know like what's right and what's wrong for you to do.
Right, and I think the idea is, and you know, getting back to your, and that's a good point, Drew. Getting back to your point, CJ. I think the idea is you got to draw the line somewhere, right? You know, yeah, maybe that day doesn't make a difference, but if you don't draw the line there, you know, where do you draw the line? You know.
That's cool.
Okay. Anyway, we're gonna, you know, I hope that we get to civil liberties. I think we will. But we're going to look at more cases like that, things like the juvenile death penalty, and kind of see where that takes us. Brian, what are you doing? Are you lying down?
So he's making KFC.
I just think, are you, what?
He works at KFC, sir.
But why, how does that explain why he's lying down?
Sir, winter chicken dish.
Just like he does in class, sir.
He ate too much chicken.
He's in a food coma, sir.
Where is he now?
Sitting up.
Okay. It looked like you were laying down. I'm just saying. You know what?
Like this, stretching out.
Okay, it looked like that was a recline. I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily.
Comfortable for him, though, I bet.
I bet that's my point. Okay. So you guys have different cases that you were supposed to have researched. And what I'd like to do at this point is I'd like to hear about what you guys found regarding those justices. Before I do that, I'm going to provide you guys with another document. This is going to make things really easy for you in terms of studying for the justices. This is not going to be an editable document. It's going to be, so you're going to have to make your own kind of private copy of this. And if you don't have the wherewithal, Jack Anderson, to do that, then write it in and put it in there later, because I'm telling you, I'm making things crazy, crazy easy for you guys in order to get this done. So I'll put it in the task I did last time. You're right, Yago?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Raleigh.
All right. So there's the drive document. Just make a separate copy for you.
Man, these boys are ugly, sir.
Just make a separate copy for you, so you can get that done. Yeah, well, they're old people. They're older people, Lorenz, and they're actually pretty smart people. So, are we good with that? Give me a thumbs up. All right, looks like we're 40% good with that. All right, so that's good enough for me. I'm gonna go ahead and share the document with you, and there are different people presenting on. So make sure that you also have that justice bio that you were working on. Have that out as well, because that is what we're going to use to fill this stuff out. So we'll show it from the current slide, and we'll scroll down here. And some of you guys had John Roberts. And it looks like it was Phil Hauer and Lloyd. Is that right? So I'm going to unmute you guys so you can do that. So we got 9 justices appointed for life. We talked about all that, so we can move on. So this is the Supreme Court today. These are the guys on the current Supreme Court.
These some ugly boys, sir.
Huh?
They some ugly boys.
No, they're ugly.
They're old people. They're generally speaking, pretty old.
Hey, it's a black guy in the Supreme. Oh, never mind. I thought I was.
Clarence Thomas. Okay.
Clarence.
So tell us a little bit about what you guys found, Phil Hauer and Lloyd, on our boy John Roberts here.
John Roberts, he went to Harvard University, Harvard Law, and then another random college. I can't remember the name of it. Phil Howard has it written down.
It was La Lumiere School.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Harvard's the one that I want you guys. I want you guys to be aware of. But you're right.
He studied law. His first job was he was a lawyer. Second job was a jurist, and his third job he served on the United States Court of Appeals for 2 years. He was nominated by George Bush in 2005, who was a Republican. He had 78 out of 100 Senate confirmation votes, and so it was not controversial because obviously he got such a high vote.
Mm-hmm.
He is conservatively, or he interprets the Constitution conservatively. And yes, sir.
Yeah, we don't typically refer to justices as Republican, but we'll refer to them as conservative because they don't prescribe to specific political parties. Important thing to note too, and I would write this somewhere next to his name, that he is the current Chief Justice and has been since I think it was 06, 07, something like that. He's been the Chief Justice on the Supreme Court. Not very controversial, not like a Brett Kavanaugh. He and you guys may when they were showing the Trump proceedings for impeachment, he was the guy presiding in the Senate during that process when Roberts was. Okay, good. Are we good with him? Anybody need me to wait? Okay. The next one we're going to talk about is Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Castanian, it was you and Malcolm, but Malcolm ain't here, so you're going to be the one-man show here.
Okay. So she was born in Brooklyn, New York. She grew up in a low-income neighborhood in Brooklyn. She went to 3 universities. At first, she went to Cornell University for government, Harvard University for law, and then Columbia University for law. Her first real job was a lawyer in New York City. Her next job of note was U.S. District Court of New York. So she was like a district court judge. And then after that, she was an associate at Columbia Law. So that would be like a teacher of some sort.
Mm-hmm, yes.
So she was nominated by Bill Clinton in 1993. She is more liberal than conservative. And the two cases important cases she was on was she ruled on the Virginia versus the United States, which was the court case that forced VMI to let girls into the school, and Gonzalez versus Carthart, which upheld federal partial birth abortion ban act. So
yeah,
all that.
Good research. Yeah, I remember you guys bringing up the VMI case yesterday or 2 days ago. So what's one thing you're noticing that most justices do before they end up becoming a Supreme Court justice?
They're all judges.
They all have law experience, but when they serve on the Court of Appeals, it's typically this DC, and you're going to notice that kind of as a trend. Yes, Jack.
They all went to Ivy League schools.
Yeah, and they're all going to be very well educated. I mean, it's not like, they're not going to just any run of the mill school. They're going to good schools. Ivy League schools, and they're getting multiple degrees from Ivy League schools. All right, Samuel Alito. Did I give Samuel Alito? I think I did give him to a couple people, didn't I? or not? Okay, so I'll talk about Alito. So Alito was born 1950. He's going to be a Bush appointee. He's going to replace Justice Rehnquist, who was the Chief Justice. Rehnquist is going to die, okay? And Alito is going to replace him. Very, very conservative. His appointment is going to be somewhat controversial in terms of Democrats are going to protest in the Senate his appointment to a great extent. Again, you guys should see a few things. Notice that we've got another Catholic, and what you'll see is primarily Jews and primary Catholics on the Supreme Court. And then you're going to see another appeals court guy, pretty much very similar to the standard process that we see for most people. That is Alito. And I don't know if you guys see a resemblance between Samuel Alito and a graduate from last year. I'm going to see if I can say it without mentioning his name. You guys see that? Gabe Bowman. I think he looks just like Gabe Bowman. I think somebody pointed that out last year, and I was like, oh, that is weird. Okay. All right, so the next one is going to be Sonia Sotomayor. And there were a few people there. I know I assigned her, did I not? Who had Sonia? Lorenz. Who was with you, Lorenz?
No, I had Goitz.
Goitz?
Yes.
All right. So you guys take out Sonia for me.
What a document. She was born June 25th, 1954. She was in a poor family. She grew up in the Bronx. Her father died when she was 9. Grew up in a single-parent household. She went to Yale and Princeton. She studied law. They graduated. She graduated, obviously. Professional career before. She was an editor for the Yale Law Journal. She was a district attorney, then an adjunct professor.
She was nominated by Barack Obama the year May 2009. She's a Democrat, which also means that she'd be a liberal. She won from the Senate confirmation votes 68-31, and there wasn't really much controversy with her. And she ruled in the majority, which upheld the Affordable Care Act twice, and in Obergefell versus Hodge to legalize same-sex marriage in all 50 states.
Yep. And you guys might not be aware of this, but in 1994, the Major League Baseball went on strike, and so there was question as to whether and the reason was it was just a lot of improving conditions for players and whatnot. And she was largely responsible for proctoring an agreement between the owners and the players, and making sure that strike didn't carry over into the 1995 season. Okay, so again, we've got another Catholic, first Hispanic on the Supreme Court. That's going to be important to be a good question to ask you guys. Again, another one of 2 Obama appointees. We're going to talk about the next one, I think, next. Oh, no, on 1 or 2 people before him. So Stephen Breyer is going to be, and I know that I have to do Stephen Breyer. Stephen Breyer is going to be a Clinton appointee in 1994, along with Ginsburg, one of the 2 older people on the Supreme Court. And Clarence Thomas, who we'll talk about soon. Court of Appeals as well, Stanford, Harvard, and is going to rule is going to work as a clerk in a landmark case, Griswold versus Connecticut. And the whole point of that case was, and he worked as a clerk in that case. He wasn't a justice, but that case was about banning the pill. And Connecticut tried to do that, and the Supreme Court ruled against it. But he's going to be a liberal Supreme Court member. Good with that? All right. Next guy. Or girl. Elena Kagan. Anybody, and I don't have what was written down in front of me. Does anybody have Elena Kagan?
Well, I'm muted.
You're not muted now. Castanian? No, you already went.
I already went.
Yeah. Okay. So Elena Kagan, she's going to be. I don't know what that was. Was that Brian?
What? Was what me?
Nah, you said something. I don't know what.
I don't know.
So, Obama appointee, again, going to be fairly liberal. You should notice a similarity between the president that appoints and just where they stand in terms of being liberal or conservative. So, Jewish, we've got another Jewish appointee and went to Harvard or Ivy League schools. I know that she was going to be another person who's going to rule in favor of the Affordable Care Act. All right. Clarence Thomas, Yago, and McCaffrey. Are you on that one too with Yago?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you guys talk to us about Clarence.
He went to Yale Law School and graduated there. He also went to the College of the Holy Cross and studied law. We couldn't find where he got his master's and doctorate, but I'm guessing it was Yale. They had never said when he graduated either. But he was born in Savannah, Georgia. He's also a Republican, and he served as the Assistant Attorney General of Missouri, the legislative assistant to Senator John, I can't read his last name. He was also the Assistant Secretary for the Civil Rights in the U.S. Department of Education.
Tell me a little bit about his appointment.
He was appointed by George H.W. Bush in 1991, and he also served at the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit.
Did you get numbers on that appointment in terms of confirmation?
We couldn't find them. I'm sure they were, but where we were looking, we didn't see them.
This is going to be a very controversial nomination. There were sexual, like Brett Kavanaugh, sexual allegations against him by a woman by the name of Anita Hill. They were never, I don't remember if they were dropped or disproven. I don't think they were disproven. It just kind of went by the wayside, and he got appointed in spite of all that. It made him very bitter, towards kind of the whole process and how things had become partisan. He has only, and this is kind of a fun fact about him, he has only spoken, 3 times since officially joining the Supreme Court. So like when they're in panel and they're hearing cases, he has spoken 3 times since 1991. Okay, so justices are usually asking questions and saying things. He just doesn't talk. All right. Neil Gorsuch. I don't think I assigned anybody Gorsuch. Trump appointee, the first Trump appointee. Gorsuch was appointed. You may remember Justice Antonin Scalia dying during Obama's administration, and this got a lot of Republicans very upset because Scalia was a very conservative justice, and because Obama was the sitting president, it meant that the liberal justice was going to replace him. And so Obama tried to appoint a gentleman by the name of Merrick Garland, and Merrick Garland was never confirmed by the Senate, because who held majority in the Senate?
Republicans.
Yeah, Republicans held majority in the Senate. They refused to confirm or even listen to a confirmation process for Merrick Garland, and so he was never given a seat. And so when Republicans get real bent out of shape about what happened to Brett Kavanaugh, a lot of that was precipitated from all of this with Neil Gorsuch. And the whole appointment process has become very politicized, both by Republicans and by Democrats.
You can't make up false rape claims, though. That's pushing it.
You know, I'm not saying it justifies anything. I'm just saying that a lot of that stuff got aggravated earlier on. But I agree with you 100%. When you start making up claims, that just aggravates a very polarized political process anyway. I mean, we couldn't be further apart today than we are now.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do what time we got?
2 minutes.
Few minutes. We got a couple minutes. Let's do Brett Kavanaugh and then we'll be done. Matthew Sylvia, I think I got to unmute you. Is he even on here?
No.
Okay. I have his information. So who was anybody in here with Matthew?
Jack and I. I was.
Go for it, Jack. Jack, are you going to, this is going to be epic. Are you presenting and driving at the same time?
Yeah.
That is absurd. This has got to be like a federal crime.
All right. Kavanaugh was appointed by Trump. He's a conservative. He went to Yale Law School.
I know.
Graduated in 1987. His nomination was controversial. It was 50 to 48 because of rape claims. But 2 people abstained from voting, so he barely passed. He grew up in Washington, D.C. He went to Georgetown Prep. He was Trump's last appointee.
Yep, the newest guy on the Supreme Court. Okay, well, I'm without words. That is, it's kind of depressing. I'm having you guys have checked out so much. You are now presenting while you're driving cars.
At least I showed up, Coach.
Sir, do you want to see this?
What are you talking about, Phil Howard?
Phil Howard.
Oh, the sheet?
Phil Howard.
Do you want to see our notes that we did for the Supreme Court thing?
You did them on paper?
Yeah.
Oh.
No. Like
Typed them out.
the original thing.
No, I don't need to see that.
All right.
I don't need to see that. If you could share with me the note you took on the justices, I'd appreciate that.
All right.
Say it again?
I can give you participation points. Jack, make sure that you get me those notes too.
I got them copied. I was copying them while I was driving.
Okay.
We have to send you these notes.
Sir, if one of my partner sends them to you, is that okay?
Your partner. I'm talking about the notes you just took.
Oh,
You have to email these to you?
All right, sir. Have a great day.
Send these right now. You want us to send them to your email?
Yeah, send them to my email.
So
All right,
question.
guys, I'll see you later.
All right, Coach. See you later.
All right, see ya.
So question. What was the second person's name?
Second person. Hold on.
Ruth Bader.
I can pull it up pretty easy. Yeah, I think it was Ginsburg.
All right, I'm head out, sir. You have a great day.
Oh God.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Go ahead.
What was Elena Claglen? What position did she hold before she got on the thing?
I think so.
Elena Kagan.
Yes.
What position did she hold before? She was going to be a Court of Appeals, I believe, as well. Dean of Harvard Law School. That's what she did.
Okay.
Dean of Harvard Law. Brian, can I get a KFC bowl at some point? Maybe.
Yeah, just come by.
Bowls or goes over.
Yeah, come by. We be open. We be still busy.
Really?
I'll bless your bowl. I'll bless your bowl.
Okay, just don't like sneeze in it or anything.
All right.
All right. Talk to you.
I'll hold the sneeze.
All right.
All right, sir.
All right. See you later.